you know, those types of commissions that they're on, so that it would give us a good picture of what our people are doing in these different regions.
Yes, that's what we need. That's what we need to do. We need to support. Before I go to any hands, I have a question right now. I'm going to give this to the panel.
Could I just say something else about that? There are not just Muslim elected and appointed officials. There are a lot of Muslims in government that are working in the government.
Right.
And people ignore that because even though you got policymakers, if the people that are working in government don't carry out the policy, they can block whatever you're trying to bring. So we need to make sure we get all those people as well.
Let me ask this question. I ask this to the panel, and whoever would like to deal with it can reply. The first question is, how much of the U.S. Constitution includes Sharia? Let's start with Imam Ramadan, since he's at the far end, and we'll go this way.
Well, let me just say, alhamdulillah for our young Imam who was here. I thank Allah for him and Imam Deputy Muhammad for him. I'm going to put you on the, well, it's really not putting you on the spot, because in Islam, we don't play those kind of, how old are you, my brother?
36.
Allahu Akbar. Takbir. You know, our community's in good hands. We're in good hands. And after what he just said, I mean, we really can go home after what he said. That's what you call putting it in a nutshell. You know? These people that are throwing these terms around Sharia, you know, Marxism, communism, look, they couldn't write a coherent paragraph on it if their life depended on it. Okay, and I'm talking about some of the talking heads and some of these elected officials that are throwing these words around. They don't have any idea what it is. He made the point, you know, thou shalt not steal. That's Sharia. Okay? Sharia is the divine laws given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's Sharia. Okay, in the Quran. And we share with the people of the book, thou shalt not kill. You know, that's Sharia. Huh? You gonna throw that out? But really, it's being directed to us. It's really not, you know, of course we know that they can't give a general, you know, when they say Sharia, they mean they don't want us to practice selective things that they believe, you know, is part of Sharia, or what they call creeping Sharia, that's going to overtake. It's too late for that. Because Thomas Jefferson had a Quran. And you have to believe that he had one, but he didn't read it. The same way you have to believe that Barack Obama was in Chicago, but he wasn't influenced by Imam W.D. Muhammad. If you look at his personality, and we were discussing this at lunch, me and my family, if you look at his personality and his tactics, you know, patience and perseverance, that's a tactic. When they say, you know, he caved in again, he gave up again, we want him to get mad.
Right.
You know, he's a human being. But Prophet Muhammad said, don't become angry. Not because that's not a part of your emotional makeup, but you lose when you become angry. So we can see Barack Obama following Imam Muhammad's tactics, his strategy. There was a people that, you know why they like Farrakhan? Because he cussed the white man out. That was his opinion. That's right, brother. Cuss him out. Put him in his place. Everything Muhammad too soft. It's his strategy. You see? And he had his strategy, put him in a, he solved the riddle of the Sphinx that well, you know, the sister said, Brother man, can you please stop saying nigga, because that offends me. No, I really can't. I really can't. Because sometimes it's apropos to the situation. You know, there was a comedian and he was being abusive to some brothers in the audience, and he was using, they like to say, the N-word, you know. And Larry King was interviewing Chris Rock, and he said, Chris, he said the N-word. And Chris Rock said, no, he didn't, Larry. He said nigga. So sometimes that's the word that brings to mind the reality of the situation. See, you got to get to the root of this thing. The way to get to the root of it, Imam Nassif Majid sent me this Pew Research Center report, you know, and if I may, I'd like to read some remarks that I answered on it, because I think it gets to the heart of it. And I said, like most polls and surveys, this Pew Research Center report on Muslim Americans and their growth in alienation or support for extremism is skewed and designed to produce predictable results. The underlying premise that Muslims are a threat to the safety and security of America and Americans continues to flow from the position that Muslims were responsible for the 9/11 tragedy, and I'm going to be, I told my wife we got to go to 2 different events that they invited us to on 9/11. One with the Jewish community, and the other one with the Korean Christian community. But that Muslims are responsible for the 9/11 tragedy, therefore Muslims are America's enemy, and naturally they are watching and heightened security or scrutiny. Once you play into this scenario, you're set up for everything that follows. Now, Imam Wazir, he made a statement that, we always refer to Muhammad the Prophet, and he said, truth is heralded falsehood and knocks out his brain, right? But Imam Muhammad taught us that you can't wake a man up that's pretending to be asleep. You see? So you got misinformed people and disinformed people, but you also have agents that are well-informed. Like Allah said, they know you like they know their own son. So they know what their enemies. But we're afraid that, we don't have any enemy. Imam Wazir alluded to it. If some of us say, we're not getting Imam Muhammad's message out. If we got his pure message out, no. You think Prophet Muhammad wasn't getting his message out? And they were trying to kill him and boycott him and everything else? Imam Muhammad got his own message out. We didn't have to get his message out. He did his job. There are people who are dupes of the devil. The devil is real. Imam Muhammad, it's not a myth. The devil is real. And when you take the stand that Imam Wazir talked about, that stand, how come they don't talk about that history in America? Huh? That history of reclamation that went all the way back to the Nation of Islam. That don't count. The people that were taken off of drugs, they didn't have no 12-step program. They came and heard you want to be a Muslim, stop doing drugs. That was it. Huh? So, once you play into this scenario, you set up for everything else that follows. Because you're in a defensive mode now. Huh? The emergence of the Homeland Security state of emergency mindset, resulting in an erosion of civil liberties, basic to our democracy, with focus on the suspect community, i.e. Muslims, both foreign and domestic, including U.S. citizens. This justifies so-called racial religious profiling, and we no stranger to that, are we? They ain't nothing new for us. I said, you don't have any problem with racial profiling? You need to talk to me. Yeah. I can tell you how to survive here in America with racial profiling. You act like it's something new. And naturally leads to scenarios like the wholly manufactured Ground Zero Mosque controversy, Sharia law fallacies, and not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims, assertions by mainstream media pundits, not to mention everything from physical assaults on both Muslims and those perceived to be Muslims, Sikhs, etc., arbitrarily being singled out for heightened security screening in airports, including denial on some flights, surveillance of mosques and neighborhoods with large Muslim populations, and law enforcement strategies with an unbalanced emphasis on Muslim terrorists to the exclusion of others, as well as less time, energy, and resources devoted to other categories of crime. This has resulted in highly questionable sting operations against individuals who, without being prompted by government agents, had neither the resources, the ability, or the inclination to engage in terror plots. See the Liberty City 7, who were erroneously reported to be Muslims, and the Newburgh 4, etc. That brings me to my next contention, that this notion that this is a war on terror, as opposed to an effort to thwart crimes by either single or groups of criminals, has painted all Muslims, including American citizens, with the broad brush of suspicion, and called into question our patriotism. Hence the need to discover if we have been radicalized. This term, while being